The great hall of the Galactic Senate was filled with voices, sharp, angry, and loud. Thousands of alien delegates argued across their glowing platforms, each species fighting to speak first. Their words crashed together like waves. But as soon as the human envoy stepped onto the central stage, the noise began to fade. Elias Ward walked forward slowly, his boots echoing across the polished floor. He was alone, no guards, no aides, no machines. Every other envoy arrived with escort drones or armored attendants. Humans, however, were still too new to the galaxy to carry such weight. Many alien leaders barely knew anything about Earth or the Sol system. To them, humans were a small, loud species with no real power. But today was different. Today, the Senate had summoned Elias to answer a simple question: why had humanity attacked a fleet from the Ket Dominion? At least, that was the story the Ket told. The Senate hall dimmed as the Supreme Speaker activated the central projectors. Huge floating screens lit up with images of burning wreckage, drifting through dark space. Broken ships. Twisted metal. Frozen bodies. A low rumble passed through the hall as the Ket Supreme Commander rose from his platform. His dark armor glowed with red lines, and his 4 eyes locked onto Elias with cold anger. "Human envoy," the commander growled, "your people destroyed 6 of our vessels. You killed 300 of our warriors. You violated the peace of this galaxy. You will surrender the names of the humans responsible. You will submit to justice." The hall stirred with whispers. Many aliens nodded. The Ket Dominion was powerful. Their fleets were feared. Most smaller species would have bowed immediately. But Elias did not bow. He stood there, still and calm, his expression unreadable. The silence in the hall grew heavier. Finally, the Supreme Speaker addressed him. "Envoy Ward," she said, "explain your people's actions." For a moment, Elias said nothing. Then he looked directly at the Ket commander. "You invaded the wrong sector." The hall went silent at once. Every voice, every whisper, every sound stopped. Even the translation drones froze, as if unsure they heard him correctly. The Ket commander's eyes widened. "What did you say, human?" "You heard me," Elias replied. "Your fleet crossed into a restricted zone. You attacked a system under human protection. You targeted civilian colonies. That is why your ships were destroyed." A roar of anger burst from the Ket platforms. Claws slammed against metal. Voices shouted insults, threats, and demands. But Elias continued speaking, loud enough for all to hear. "And if your Dominion sends another fleet into that sector," he said, "it will not return either." The Senate erupted again, louder than before. Delegates shouted about arrogance, humans, war, and punishment. Some demanded sanctions. Others demanded Earth's removal from the Senate entirely. But a few watched Elias carefully, noticing something unusual. He did not look afraid. He looked certain. The Supreme Speaker raised her staff, and the hall slowly calmed. "Envoy Ward," she said, her tone sharp, "the Ket insist they entered neutral space. Provide evidence for your claim." Elias lifted his hand. A small data sphere flickered to life above his palm. The lights of the Senate reflected in his eyes as a 3-dimensional star map grew in the air, showing dozens of star systems along the outer rim. "This region," Elias said, pointing at a glowing blue sector, "was granted to a new developing species. They asked for our protection 3 months ago. They were under attack from raiders. My people sent a small defense fleet to guard them." The map zoomed in. A peaceful green planet spun slowly in the projection. The Ket Dominion entered their space without permission. The Ket commander shouted, "They are not recognized by the Senate. They are nothing. You protect insects, human." Elias smiled slightly, just enough to unsettle the room. "They asked for help," he said softly. "We answered." He waved his hand again, and the hologram changed. This time, the Senate saw something that made several species shiver. Footage from a human battleship. The Ket fleet appeared on screen, firing first, targeting civilian stations without warning. The recording was clear. Precise. Undeniable. The Ket commander froze. The Senate hall fell silent again, but this silence felt different, heavy, tense, dangerous. Elias let the footage play for several seconds before shutting it off. Then he looked around the room, his voice steady. "Humanity does not start wars," he said. "But we finish them." Some aliens leaned forward. Others sat back. A few whispered nervously. Elias let them react. He wanted them to. He wanted every delegate in the hall to understand what the Ket had triggered. The Supreme Speaker frowned. "Envoy Ward. Are you saying humanity is declaring conflict?" Elias shook his head. "No. Then he spoke the words that made every heart in the chamber stop. I am saying the conflict has already begun. A cold wave of shock swept through the Senate. Lights flickered as delegates murmured in panic. Elias stood alone in the center, surrounded by thousands of alien eyes. Humanity had just drawn a line in the stars. And everyone could feel it. This was only the beginning. All across the Senate hall, the aliens stared at Elias Ward as if he had just thrown a burning torch into a room full of fuel. His calm expression made it worse. The Ket commander's armor hummed with rising heat, and his 4 eyes burned with fury. You dare speak of war, the commander growled, when your species controls only a handful of worlds. When you still crawl among the lower ranks of the Senate. Humans have no idea what true war is. Elias did not look away. Maybe, he said, but we learn fast. The commander slammed his clawed fist against his platform, making it shake. We will crush your colonies. We will burn your ships. We will take your people as. Enough, the Supreme Speaker snapped, her voice sharp like a blade. Both sides will stop their threats at once. But the damage was already done. The hall was full of fear now, fear not of the Ket, but of what humanity might do next. For the first time, the other species seemed to truly look at the human envoy. Most did not understand humans at all. They knew stories of Earth's rapid growth, strange bravery, and reckless courage. They knew humans pushed borders and built colonies faster than anyone expected. But no one knew what would happen if humanity was pushed too hard. Elias stepped back from the center of the stage and touched the small communicator at his ear. It looked like a tiny metal bead, but inside it carried a direct link across the light years to a ship waiting in low orbit outside the Senate station. A voice whispered only loud enough for Elias to hear. Envoy Ward, Intel update. The Ket fleet near our protected sector has doubled. They're bringing in war cruisers. Elias nodded slightly. Keep tracking. Do not fire unless they cross the line. Yes, sir. The Ket commander noticed the quiet gesture. Calling for help, human? Even now you hide behind your ships. Elias raised an eyebrow. If I wanted help, Commander, the fleet would already be here. The commander hissed, but before he could reply, another speaker rose from her platform. She was tall, thin, and covered in shimmering blue scales. The scale folk were usually peaceful, but now her eyes were full of alarm. If the Ket and humans fight, she said, your war will spill into our borders. Our systems are too close. Our people will suffer. A dozen others agreed at once. We cannot let these two species drag the rest of us into chaos. The Ket must withdraw. No, the humans must apologize. Both sides must step back. The room dissolved into shouting again. The Supreme Speaker tried to calm them, but the noise only grew. Elias watched the chaos with a quiet, controlled expression. He knew what he had to do next. Humans didn't seek war, but the galaxy needed to understand something very important. Humans protected their own. Always. When the noise reached its loudest point, Elias activated the small device in his hand. It made no sound. It simply projected a new image above him, one that stretched across the entire Senate hall. Every alien froze. It was a live feed from humanity's border. A Ket battle cruiser appeared on the screen. Then 2 more. Then 5. Their weapons powered up, glowing with deadly red light. The fleet was clearly forming an attack line. The Ket commander's expression changed. Not anger. Not pride. Shock. These are lies, he said quickly. Your people forged this. Elias pressed one button. The view zoomed out, revealing a timestamp verified by 3 neutral navigation networks. The Senate murmured in fear. This was no human trick. The footage was real. A lone human ship floated in front of the Ket fleet. It was small, tiny compared to the giant cruisers facing it. The aliens in the Senate scoffed. That ship will be destroyed. It cannot even damage one cruiser. What are the humans doing? Elias knew exactly what they were doing. That small vessel, the Horizon Spear, was broadcasting a single message on all channels. Your last warning. Turn back. The Senate watched as the Ket fleet ignored the message and charged forward. Their weapons flashed bright red. 10 beams shot straight toward the small human ship. Many alien delegates turned away, expecting to see the Horizon Spear torn apart. But the human ship did not move. And it did not die. Instead, a faint blue shimmer appeared around it, a shield humans had never shown before. The Ket beams hit it and vanished, erased like water striking fire. Gasps filled the Senate. Even the Supreme Speaker leaned forward. What technology is that? Someone whispered. Elias did not answer. He simply let the video continue. The Horizon Spear powered up a single cannon. It fired once. Just once. A bright blue line of light crossed the screen faster than anything the Senate had ever seen. It passed through the Ket lead cruiser like it was made of air. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the cruiser split apart, cleanly and silently, into two glowing halves. Every alien in the Senate froze. Inside the hall, hearts pounded. Eyes widened. Voices failed. Elias looked around the room, his voice quiet but cold. "This is why I said," he told them, "they invaded the wrong sector." The message was clear. Humans were no longer the newcomers of the galaxy. They were something far more dangerous. And the Ket had just learned that the hard way. The Senate hall stayed frozen as the image of the destroyed Ket cruiser flickered above the delegates. No one moved. No one even breathed loudly. A single small human ship had just cut a war cruiser in half with one shot. That kind of power should not exist in the hands of a young species. The Ket commander stared at the projection, his lower hands shaking. His upper hands gripped the rail of his platform so tightly that the metal bent under his strength. He finally spoke, but his voice was different now, uncertain. "This is fake," he whispered. "This cannot be real." Elias Ward looked at him with calm, steady eyes. "It is real. And that ship is not alone." The projection zoomed out again, showing 5 more human ships uncloaking behind the horizon spear. They were sleek, silver, sharp like blades. Silent. Still. Watching. The Ket fleet, even with its numbers, looked small in comparison to their precision. The whole Senate whispered at the sight. A species that had barely joined the galactic community now possessed technology that looked more advanced than many older civilizations. "How?" One delegate whispered. "When?" Another asked. "What else are humans hiding?" A third murmured. But Elias kept his voice level as he spoke. "We tried diplomacy. We warned you. We told you to leave the protected zone. You ignored every message. Your fleet fired on civilians. This is the result." Inside the hall, some aliens began shifting uneasily. Their minds raced. If humans protected one tiny species with this level of force, what would they do to anyone who threatened Earth itself? The Supreme Speaker finally spoke again. "Envoy Ward, the Senate cannot allow a war to break out. The Ket Dominion must answer for their actions, but humanity must also agree to restraint." Elias slowly shook his head. "You misunderstand. Restraint is why only one cruiser was destroyed." Another projection appeared. This time it showed something even more shocking, a second Ket cruiser, turning its engines off and surrendering. Then another. And another. Their war flags dimmed as they signaled retreat. The Ket commander roared in disbelief. "Cowards! Traitors!" But the truth was simple, the Ket warriors were not stupid. They had faced something they could not defeat. They chose survival over pride. "As you can see," Elias continued, "the battle is already ending. No more ships need to be destroyed." The Senate murmured again. Some were relieved. Some were scared. Some were thinking ahead, wondering how this shift of power would change the entire galaxy. But one thing was certain. Humanity was now a major player. The Ket commander's armor flashed with emergency lights, signals from his superiors. He touched the comms in his ear. The message he received made his eyes widen. He lowered his head. "The Dominion orders us to withdraw all fleets from that sector," he said slowly, his voice heavy with humiliation. Gasps filled the Senate hall. The Ket never retreated. They never backed down. They certainly never obeyed humans. Elias did not smile. He simply responded. "Wise decision." But just as the tension seemed ready to fade, new information came through Elias's earpiece. His face tightened ever so slightly. "Envoy Ward," the voice whispered urgently, "we have a problem. A large unknown ship just appeared near the protected world. It does not match any Ket signature. It is enormous." Elias reacted immediately. He turned to the Supreme Speaker. "I need this session paused. Now." The Speaker frowned. "Why?" Elias pointed at the projection. A new feat appeared, grainy and shaking. A huge shadow crossed the stars behind the retreating Ket ships. The shape was monstrous, long like a leviathan, covered in strange organic armor. The aliens in the hall recoiled in fear. "That is not Ket. Is that a pirate supership?" "No. It's something else." The camera zoomed in. The vessel had no windows. No visible engines. Its surface moved, alive, breathing, shifting like wet muscle. Elias's voice was low. "That is not from this galaxy." The Ket commander stared, all anger forgotten. "What do you mean?" The projection showed something horrifying, The huge ship's skin peeled open, revealing rows of glowing tendrils and bright orbs like unblinking eyes. A message crackled through the human ship's comms, high-pitched, distorted, not in any known language. The sound made some delegates cover their ears. The Supreme Speaker whispered, "What species is that?" Elias shook his head. "We don't know." The aliens felt a new kind of fear then, different from fear of war or politics. This was fear of the unknown. The Ket commander spoke quietly, almost respectfully. "Human. Your ship cannot face that alone." Elias looked back at the projection and answered. "It doesn't have to." Behind the horizon spear, the other human ships moved into formation. Their weapons glowed brighter and brighter, lighting up the dark space like a rising star. Elias swallowed once. "If that thing wants a fight," he said, "then before this day ends. Humans and Ket might be fighting side by side." The entire Senate fell silent again, this time in awe. The real threat had arrived. And it was not human. The Senate hall no longer felt like a political room. It felt like the command deck of a warship. Every delegate stared at the massive unknown vessel on the projection. Even the strongest species, the Ket, the Thaler, the Varn, looked afraid. This new ship was unlike anything in the galaxy. It did not look built. It looked grown. Elias Ward kept his eyes on the moving tendrils covering the monster ship. Each tendril pulsed with light like blood flowing through a living creature. In his ear, the human fleet commander spoke again. "Envoy Ward, it's scanning us. Its scans are biological. Almost like it's smelling us." Elias felt a cold chill. "Keep weapons locked. Do not fire unless you must." "Understood." The Supreme Speaker looked shaken. "How can a ship be alive? This technology. This thing. We have no record of it in any archive." "It is not technology," an elder alien whispered. "It is something else." The Ket commander stepped forward, his armor glowing faintly. "Human, does your fleet have any idea what that thing wants?" Elias answered honestly. "No." The projector changed views again. The huge creature ship drifted closer to the small green planet under human protection. The smaller species living there had no idea what danger approached. Their peaceful world, full of forests and calm seas, might become the first victim of something ancient and hungry. An alarm suddenly echoed from the human ship's feed. "It's opening," someone shouted. The living vessel's front section split apart like a giant mouth. Inside, rows of glowing orbs blinked like eyes. A sharp beam of light shot out, scanning the planet, then focusing on the human ships. Elias spoke into his communicator. "Fall back into defensive formation. Protect the planet." "Yes, sir. Moving now." The human ships shifted with perfect discipline. Formations locked. Shields raised. Engines hummed. The horizon spear moved to the center of the defensive ring. But the creature ship kept coming. The Supreme Speaker turned to the Ket commander. "If we do not intervene, this new force may destroy that entire system." The Ket commander's fists tightened. His pride battled his fear. He did not wish to help humans. But the thing on the screen made old grudges feel small. He exhaled heavily. "Envoy Ward. If humanity stands against this creature, the Ket will not sit idle." Gasps filled the Senate. For the first time in history, the Ket offered help to humans. Elias nodded. "We stand together, then. At least for today." The Supreme Speaker raised her hand. "All species with nearby fleets, prepare to aid. This is not a human problem. This is a galaxy problem." Delegates sent orders instantly. The Great Hall buzzed with warnings and distress signals. Ships all across the nearby sectors were turning, preparing to warp in. But everyone knew something terrifying. None of their fleets might arrive in time. Because the creature ship made its first attack move. A cluster of tendrils shot out from its surface, glowing bright red. They cracked through space like whips of plasma and struck the human defensive line. One human ship shook under the strike, shields flaring bright blue. The commander shouted through the feed, "Shields holding, barely." The creature's tendrils began wrapping around the shield bubble, tightening like muscles. Elias felt fear rise in his chest. This enemy fought like a predator. The horizon spear moved forward slightly and broadcast a message on all frequencies. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself. You are entering protected space. Cease all aggressive action." There was no answer. Instead, the creature screamed. Not a human scream. Not a machine alarm. A real, horrible scream, a deep, echoing sound like metal grinding in the throat of a dying beast. The scream shook several aliens in the Senate so hard they fell to their knees. Elias did not look away. "So that's your answer. He spoke into his communicator. Begin coordinated fire. The human ships opened fire together. Bright blue beams and kinetic slugs shot forward, hitting the creature's surface. Instead of breaking apart, the creature rippled, absorbing some of the hits, deflecting others. It's adapting. The human commander reported. Changing its surface to resist our weapons. The Ket commander growled. Then let the Ket show you how to break a monster. On the projection, 3 Ket cruisers jumped out of warp near the human fleet, their engines glowing red. Their weapons lit up instantly, firing powerful blasts at the creature's side. The creature flinched. A small victory, but a victory. The Ket commander smirked, even in fear. See? We are warriors. Not prey. Elias nodded. Then let's survive this together. The creature ship reacted with fury. A massive glowing orb formed at its center. The alien delegates gasped as the orb grew brighter and brighter. What is it doing? Someone asked. The human commander's voice turned urgent. It's building energy, massive amounts. If it fires that at the planet. The sentence didn't need finishing. The creature was preparing to wipe out the protected world. Elias stepped forward, voice hard and cold. All ships. Focus fire on the core. The human ships obeyed instantly. The Ket ships joined without hesitation. Beams and torpedoes crossed space like a storm of light, all aimed at the glowing orb. Cracks appeared. The creature let out another horrible scream and pulled energy faster, desperate to fire before it died. Elias whispered, "Hold. Hold." The light reached its highest point. And then the creature fired. A gigantic beam of white energy shot toward the planet. But at that exact moment, something else appeared, something unexpected, fast, and bright. A new human ship warped in front of the beam, taking the hit directly. The entire Senate gasped in terror. Elias's eyes widened. It was the Sol's Spear, one of Earth's most advanced prototypes, sent to the Senate for diplomacy, not war. And now it was burning. The Sol's Spear burned like a falling star. The creature's massive energy beam struck it full force, wrapping the ship in blinding white light. For several seconds, nothing could be seen on the projection except a glowing ball of fire. Many alien delegates covered their faces, unable to watch. Others stared in horror. The Ket commander clenched his fists, shocked that humans would sacrifice such a valuable ship so instantly, without hesitation. Elias Ward did not move. His jaw tightened, but his eyes remained locked on the projection. Inside his ear, desperate voices filled the channel. We took the hit, shields collapsing. Core containment failing. Hull breach, multiple decks. We're losing power. Elias whispered, "Hold on." The fire surrounding the Sol's Spear slowly faded, revealing the ship drifting, wounded, and smoking. Entire sections of the hull were molten, glowing red. Plates were torn open. Engines sputtered weakly. But the ship was still there. Still alive. The human commander's voice crackled through the comms. Envoy Ward. We're still operational. Barely. But the planet is safe. A wave of disbelief rippled through the Senate. The creature's beam was strong enough to melt mountains or vaporize oceans, yet humans had stopped it. With one ship. The Supreme Speaker whispered, "How can a vessel take such force?" Elias answered without turning his head. Because humans build ships for the worst-case scenario. Not the best. The creature ship seemed surprised too. It paused, tendrils curling back as if confused. The glowing orb at its core flickered weakly, exhausted by the attack. It had fired its strongest shot, and failed. The Ket commander growled with excitement. It is wounded. Now is the time to strike. Elias nodded. Agreed. But we do it smart. The projection split into tactical layers. Human ships moved to surround the creature from 3 sides. Ket cruisers pushed in from the back. Additional Senate species warped in, small patrol ships, old frigates, even civilian defense vessels. They were not strong, but they were willing. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy stood together. Focus fire on the central node, Elias ordered. Shut it down before it charges again. The creature sensed danger. It screamed another deep, bone-rattling cry and released dozens of smaller tendrils, sharp, needle-like, each glowing like plasma. They shot forward in all directions. The first human frigate was pierced through instantly. The entire Senate gasped as the ship split apart. Another Ket cruiser was struck through the engines, exploding in a burst of red flame. The creature attacked wildly, thrashing, adapting, desperate. Keep formation. The human commander shouted. Do not break. But one alien delegate in the Senate hall panicked. Our ships can't survive those hits. Pull back. Let the humans and Ket handle it. Elias answered firmly. If we run now, that thing will return. Stronger. Smarter. We end it today. The alien swallowed and stayed silent. On the battlefield, the Sol's spear tried to move, engines flickering. We can still fight, its captain said, coughing into the calm. Give us a firing angle. Elias shook his head. Negative. You hold position. Your ship has done enough. Sir. That's an order. The damaged human vessel drifted, glowing weakly, like a shield refusing to fall even after breaking. The creature turned its focus on the smaller Ket ships picking at its side. With a burst of movement, it extended a huge tentacle and slammed it like a hammer against a Ket cruiser. The Ket commander in the Senate roared in anger. Strike back. Do not let it crush our warriors. The Ket ships responded with fury. Red beams stabbed into the creature's tendrils, slicing them off one by one. The creature shrieked as black fluid, its blood or something like it, sprayed across space, evaporating into glowing particles. Elias seized the moment. Human fleet, fire all heavy weapons. The Horizon Spear and the remaining human ships unleashed a wave of blue-white blasts. Torpedoes hit the creature's core. Railguns fired dense metal slugs that punched deep into its shifting skin. The creature shook violently. Its glowing core flickered. Cracks formed along its surface. But it did not die. Instead, something horrifying happened. The creature began to split. Its massive form opened like a giant seed pod, peeling apart to reveal a darker, deeper shape inside, something armored, angular, and filled with strange blue veins. A second layer of the ship, harder, colder, deadlier. The Senate watched in paralyzed fear. What is that? Someone whispered. The old Varn elder answered, voice trembling. A second form. Like an insect shedding its shell. The creature's new core pulsed with dark energy. The human commander shouted, it's powering up again, bigger than before. The Ket commander hissed, if it fires now, the planet will not survive. Elias closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he opened them and made a decision that would change everything. Send the signal, he said quietly. A human officer replied, are you sure? Once we activate it. There's no going back. Do it. Across the field, a deep hum echoed from the human ships. Something unseen pulsed through the area, waves of invisible energy. The creature paused. Confused. Then. A dark shape appeared behind it. Huge. Sharp. Metallic. Silent. It looked like a blade forged from starlight. Every alien in the Senate stared in shock. The Ket commander whispered, what? Is that? Elias answered softly. Humanity's last resort weapon. The one we swore never to use unless the galaxy faced extinction. The giant ship's hull glowed with ancient symbols. The Aegis Protocol, activated. Elias took a slow breath. Now, he said, let's finish this. The giant human ship, activated under the name Aegis Protocol, hovered silently behind the creature like a shadow made of metal and starlight. Its hull was dark silver, almost black, shaped like a long blade with sharp edges and no visible windows. The aliens in the Senate stared at it in shock. Even the Ket commander, proud and fierce, looked shaken. No one had ever seen this ship before. Not on records. Not in human reports. Not in secret intelligence files. It simply appeared, called by a coded signal Elias Ward had just authorized. The Supreme Speaker whispered, Envoy Ward. What have your people built? Elias kept his eyes on the projection. His voice was calm, but the weight behind it was heavy. A safeguard. A weapon we prayed we would never have to use. The creature reacted instantly to the arrival of the Aegis ship. Its tendrils curled back, its glowing inner core dimmed like a predator suddenly sensing a bigger predator. The Aegis ship released no weapons. No threats. No sounds. It only sent a single pulse through space, one deep thrum that shook the creature to its core. On the battlefield, human and Ket sensors buzzed with alerts. Unknown wave detected. It's disrupting the creature's energy. It's afraid. The creature is actually afraid. The creature suddenly lashed out wildly. Its tendrils struck at the Aegis ship, glowing red hot as they whipped through space. The tendrils hit. They bounced off. Like ropes hitting a steel wall. The creature recoiled in confusion. Elias nodded slightly. The Aegis hull is built from something your scientists call arclight alloy. Nothing in the galaxy can pierce it. The Supreme Speaker stared at him. Humans kept such technology hidden? Elias answered simply, because we hoped we wouldn't need it. The creature tried again, swinging larger tendrils. It slammed against the Aegis hull with thunderous force. Again, no effect. The Aegis ship finally moved. Slowly. Powerfully. It tilted forward, aiming its long, blade-like front toward the creature's exposed inner core. Inside the human fleet, officers whispered in awe. It's targeting the weak point. Is it going to ram it? No. It's charging something. A deep blue glow began forming along the edges of the Aegis hull. The glow spread slowly, like fire crawling along a sword. The human commander spoke quietly, almost reverently. Aegis is preparing its main weapon. The Ket commander looked uneasy. What kind of weapon makes a creature like that nervous? Elias exhaled. Something very old. Something very dangerous. The creature screamed again, louder, as it realized the threat. It gathered its remaining energy, trying to form another beam attack at the planet. The glowing sphere in its core grew brighter and brighter. It wanted to complete its mission even if it died. It's charging again. A human officer reported. We won't be able to stop this one. The creature's energy rose to levels never recorded before. The planet was seconds away from destruction. The Aegis ship finished charging. The blue glow along the hull flashed once. Then the ship fired. Not a beam. Not a missile. Not a projectile. It fired a wave, a silent ripple of blue energy that spread outward like a thin sheet of light. The wave passed through every ship on the field without harm. But when it touched the creature froze. Its glowing core dimmed instantly. Its tendrils went rigid. Its entire body stopped moving as if it had been slammed by an invisible wall. The wave was not a weapon meant to destroy. It was meant to disable. The Supreme Speaker stood from her seat in shock. That wave. It shut down the creature's power. Elias nodded. The Aegis protocol was designed to neutralize unknown technology. Paralyze it. Stop it from evolving. The creature struggled. It tried to move, tried to resist, but its tendrils twitched helplessly. Its energy flickered like a dying flame. Now, Elias said quietly, we strike together. Human ships fired first. Blue beams cut into the creature's weakened inner core, cracking it open further. Ket cruisers joined, blasting through the exposed layers. More alien ships fired in coordination. The creature let out one last deep scream, long and broken. Then its core exploded in a burst of blinding white light. The Senate hall shook from the shockwave transmitted through sensors. Everyone shielded their eyes. When the light faded, the creature was gone. Only drifting pieces remained, dark, strange fragments floating silently in space. The battlefield fell quiet. Human ships powered down their weapons. Ket cruisers drifted closer, also lowering their guns. The Aegis ship dimmed its blue glow and returned to silent mode, becoming still again. In the Senate, no one spoke for several seconds. Then the Ket commander broke the silence. He stepped forward, looked at Elias Ward, and gave him a slow nod of respect. Human envoy. Your people did more today than defend a small world. You saved us all. Elias nodded back. We couldn't have done it alone. The Ket commander let out a deep breath. Perhaps. We have judged humanity too harshly. Elias replied, perhaps we all misjudged each other. The Supreme Speaker finally regained her voice. She raised her staff, signaling the official end of the emergency. Let it be recorded, she said, that on this day, the galaxy witnessed something new. Humans and Ket fought side by side against a threat beyond our understanding. She paused. And humanity saved billions. Delegates murmured in agreement. For the first time since their arrival in the Senate, humans were viewed not as newcomers, but as guardians. But Elias Ward did not smile. In his ear, the human commander whispered with worry. Envoy. We found something in the creature's remains. Elias frowned. What? A signal. Repeating. Broadcasting into deep space. Elias felt his pulse quicken. What kind of signal? A long pause. Then a quiet answer. A distress call. Elias's eyes widened. The creature they destroyed was not alone. The words distress call echoed in Elias Ward's mind like a cold whisper. The Senate hall was still filled with murmurs of relief and amazement, but Elias no longer felt relief. His heart tightened as the human commander repeated the message through the communicator. It's coming from inside one of the creature's remaining fragments, the commander said. A tiny device, still active. Elias lowered his voice. Can you decode it? We're trying, but the signal isn't meant for us. The Ket commander stepped closer, noticing Elias's expression shift. What is wrong, human? Elias slowly looked up at him. That creature. It wasn't acting alone. The room fell silent again, but not because of awe this time. It was fear, quiet and sharp. The Supreme Speaker stared at Elias. Explain. Elias projected the new signal into the air. A strange pattern of pulses and lights flashed above the Senate floor. The sound was high-pitched and irregular, like the cry of something trapped underwater. The Varn elder trembled. That is no cry of pain. That is a request. A request for help. The signal repeated every few seconds. The lights blinked in a pattern. The Ket commander's voice deepened. Who is it calling? Elias took a breath. Something bigger. Something older. Maybe. Something worse. The Senate hall filled with chaotic whispers. Are more coming? How many? Is this an invasion? Is the galaxy prepared? Elias raised his hand to steady the room. We don't know yet. But we must assume others may hear this signal. The Supreme Speaker's eyes narrowed. Then we must jam it. We tried, the human commander reported through the comm. It's too strong. And it's not broadcasting on normal frequencies. It's using something biological. Like the creature itself. The whole Senate stiffened. The Ket commander growled, then the creature was part of a hive. No, Elias corrected softly. Not a hive. He pointed to the signal pattern. This is not a hive response. It is a location beacon, a mark. It's saying, I have found something important. Come. The Supreme Speaker felt the blood drain from her face. Found. What? Elias answered without hesitation. Us. A chill gripped the room. Every species felt the weight of those words. That creature was not randomly wandering the stars. It was scouting, searching, hunting. And it had finally found a place full of life. The Supreme Speaker stood tall. We must prepare the galaxy. We must defend every border. The Ket commander shook his head. If more of those creatures come, borders will not matter. They will tear through the weak worlds first. The outer colonies. The unprotected planets. Several alien representatives looked down, knowing their species had many outer worlds exactly like that. Elias spoke firmly. We need unity. If we separate, we will fall one by one. The Ket commander studied him. Unity? After everything we have been through? Elias met his gaze. We fought side by side today. That was not an accident. That was a sign of what we must become. The Ket commander considered the words. Slowly, he nodded. But before any decisions could be made, a new alert flashed across the projection. The image zoomed in on a fragment of the destroyed creature. Something inside it began to glow. A human officer shouted, Envoy. The fragment is activating. The piece twisted, folded, and opened like the petals of a dark flower. Inside was a small sphere, smooth, pale, and pulsing faintly. What is that? Someone asked. The human commander answered with dread. A spore. The Senate hall gasped. The spore shook once. Then split open. A thin mist drifted out, blue, glowing, floating into space like dust. Human scanners flared with warnings. It's releasing nanobiological material. It's searching for something. It's spreading fast. The Senate delegates panicked, shouting over each other. But Elias stayed calm. What does it do? The human commander spoke slower now, his voice tense. It's not a weapon. It's data. A message. A message? The Supreme Speaker repeated. Yes. And we just read its purpose. Elias stepped closer to the projection. Tell us. The commander did not speak immediately. The silence before his answer felt like a heavy stone pressing down on the entire room. Then he said it. It contains star maps. Our star maps. Human maps of nearby sectors. A pause. And the coordinates of the Senate station. The hall shook with panic. The Varn elder cried out, it was studying us during the battle. Recording everything. Sending our location to its species. The Ket commander slammed his fist against his platform, bending the metal. We should have destroyed it quicker. But Elias raised his voice. This is not the time for fear. If they are coming, we must be ready before they arrive. The Supreme Speaker turned to him. What do you propose, Envoy Ward? Elias stood tall. We form a united defense. A new alliance. Humans, Ket, and every species willing to fight. The room buzzed with surprise. You want humans and Ket together? A joint fleet? A shared command? Impossible. But Elias shook his head. No. Not impossible. Necessary. The Ket commander stepped forward. For the first time in our history. I agree with the human. The Senate hall fell silent. The Supreme Speaker slowly nodded. Then by emergency decree, we will create a war council. A coalition. One purpose, To prepare for whatever is coming. Elias felt the weight settle into his chest. We will stand together. But the human commander whispered one last warning in his ear. Envoy. The signal stopped. Elias frowned. Stopped? Yes. It's no longer broadcasting. Something else cut it off. What cut it? A long pause. Then a reply sent a chill through Elias's bones. We detected a massive energy spike. Far beyond known space. Elias's heart froze. The creature did not stop the signal. Something else did. Something that was already coming. The Senate hall felt colder than space itself. Every alien stared at the projection, waiting for an explanation, waiting for hope, waiting for anything. But Elias Ward said nothing yet. He listened to the human commander's last words again inside his ear, each one sinking deeper like stones in water. A massive energy spike. Far beyond known space. Something cut the creature's distress signal. Something powerful enough to override its beacon. Something aware. Elias finally spoke, his voice steady but dark. Commander. Show us the source of the spike. Yes, sir. Sending now. The Senate lights dimmed. A new map appeared above them, an image of a far-off region at the edge of the galaxy. A place beyond any species' reach. A place filled with nothing but dark clouds of dust and old, dying stars. Until now. A bright point of light flared at the map's center. Then another. And another. Dozens. Hundreds. Forming a line. A path. A shape. The Varn Elder shivered. It looks like an opening. It is, the human commander confirmed. A tear in space. Something punched through. The Supreme Speaker whispered, how large? The human officer hesitated. Large enough for a fleet. A massive fleet. The room erupted with fear. A fleet of those things? How many creatures are coming? We cannot fight an entire swarm. We barely stopped one. The Ket commander growled loudly, silencing the room. Panic will not save us. Elias nodded. We need information. Commander, what else do your sensors show? Movement, the officer replied. But not like the first creature. This is organized. Structured. Formations. The Senate stiffened. Formations meant intelligence. Military intelligence. A chill crawled up Elias's spine. Commander, describe the signatures. The officer took a deep breath. Multiple massive life forms. Similar to the first creature, but different. Larger. Hardened. And something else behind them, something mechanical. Mechanical? Elias echoed. Yes. We're detecting metal structures behind the living ones. Big ones. The Ket commander's eyes narrowed. Are you telling us these creatures build ships? They don't build ships, the officer corrected. They are the ships. And something bigger is controlling them. The Senate hall shook with panic again. Delegates stood, shouted, demanded answers, demanded safety. The Supreme Speaker slammed her staff down. Order. The room fell silent. She turned to Elias. Envoy Ward, humanity has faced them now. Humanity understands their threat more than any of us. What do you think is coming? Elias looked at the projection again. The growing tear in space. The growing lights. The massive shapes moving beyond the darkness. He spoke quietly, but every delegate heard him. A war unlike anything in our history. The Ket commander crossed his arms. When will they arrive? The human commander answered over the calm, based on their speed. Weeks. Maybe less. The Supreme Speaker inhaled sharply. We need time. Time to build a defense. Time to prepare. Elias shook his head. We don't have time. They're already marching. The moment the first creature was destroyed, this became inevitable. So we surrender? A frightened delegate asked. No, Elias said firmly. He stepped forward to the center of the Senate floor, facing thousands of species who had once doubted humanity. When humans entered this galaxy, many of you believed we were weak. Reckless. Too new to matter. He paused. But today, you saw the truth. Humans protect. Humans endure. Humans fight with everything they have. The Ket commander stepped beside him. And today, the Ket stand with humanity. The hall murmured in disbelief. The two species who were enemies just hours ago now stood side by side. Elias continued, if these creatures reach us while we stand divided, they will tear us apart. One species at a time. One world at a time. No border will save you. He pointed at the projection. But if we stand together, truly together, we have a chance. Humans bring the Aegis Protocol. The Ket bring their war fleets. The Thaler bring shields. The Varn bring planetary fortresses. Every species brings something. The Supreme Speaker raised her chin. And together, we defend the galaxy. The Senate erupted, but not with fear this time. With determination. Delegates who once argued now spoke as allies. Orders were sent. Fleets mobilized. War councils formed instantly. The Ket commander touched his communicator. Dominion fleets will rendezvous at human space. Our warriors will not run from this threat. A Varn general bowed slightly. Our fortress worlds are ready to assist. A Thaler admiral added, we will create shield corridors to protect refugee worlds. Elias nodded gratefully. Thank you. All of you. But the human commander interrupted. Envoy. One last update. Elias frowned. Go ahead. The tier in space is growing faster. The projection zoomed in. The tier widened like a wound in the galaxy. Through it, the silhouettes became clearer. Huge shapes. Armored creatures with glowing veins. Metal structures fused with living flesh. Colossal shadows moving in rows. Then, something even bigger stepped forward. A towering shape with a head like a crown of spines. Eyes glowing white. A body made of armor and muscle. And thousands of smaller creatures flying around it like insects around a queen. Every species froze. The Supreme Speaker whispered, "What is that?" The human commander answered softly. "We think it's their leader." Elias stared at the gigantic shape. He felt fear. He felt dread. But he also felt something stronger. Resolve. "This is what the creature was calling," he said, "and now it has found us." He looked at the Ket commander, then at the entire Senate. "We have weeks. Maybe less." He straightened his shoulders. "Then we use every minute. We prepare every world. We ready every fleet." A faint, grim smile touched his lips. "And when they arrive, we show them," he said, "they invaded the wrong galaxy.